In this video we're going to learn how to use some sketch tools. So we will be learning first of all something called a polyline. So if you go up to Sketch up here and then you go over to Polyline, the first thing you'll see is it says click on grid, sketch, or solid face to start sketching. So you have to click once, and I'm going to be sketching on the work plane, so I've clicked on that. Then it says click to specify my first point. So it doesn't really matter where you start, I would just choose a point. So you can sketch any shape you want, and you just keep clicking and drawing to create a shape that you like. Now as soon as I go back to my starting point, you'll notice something happened. It turned light blue. So at that point, if that's what the sketch that I wanted, I would click enter on my keyboard, and then it's now finished that sketch. And again, you'll notice it's light blue, and when I hover over it and I actually click on it, this little wheel pops up. So when that wheel pops up, now we can do things to this sketch. So the most important one that we will use quite a bit is called extrude. So what we'll be doing is we'll be extruding this shape upwards. So we've started with a two-dimensional sketch, and now we've created a three-dimensional shape. And you'll be doing a lot of that in 123D, so that's something you'll get very, very used to. So that is something called a polyline. And as soon as I push enter, now I've got a three-dimensional shape that I can look at and pan around and see. A polyline is the most common line that we're going to use because it's very precise. When we go to polyline and I wanted to create another one, I'll go back on the work plane. I'll slow it down a little bit, and you'll notice that it says 25 millimeters and 90 degrees. If I were to move that, you can see that it changes. Now it's 25.495 at a different degree. So these ones are really precise. Also notice that it automatically snaps to every 5 millimeters. If I'm in between that, it goes to the thousandth of a millimeter, which is kind of difficult to do. So if I have a line that's 15 millimeters, that's great. That's really easy to do. If I had my next line needed to be 12, well, it's quite hard to be precise. Except what we can do is notice that 12.281 is highlighted in blue. If I just type the numbers 12 and then push enter, it now locks it in. If I push enter again 2 more times, it has now created that line. So I've got a 12 millimeter line there. So I'll show you that process again. If I do need to edit this sketch or add more to it, I have to make sure I actually click on the sketch, and then I choose my point to start from. I'm going to choose there. Let's say I wanted to go over 32. I have to type in 32. I can push enter. The other thing I can do is then I can just click, and then click the check mark when you're finished. So now I've created a simple sketch. What you will notice though is if you were trying to extrude this and make this three-dimensional, there's no way to do that. You actually have to close this sketch in, so I'd actually have to add some more sketches to it. So I edit my original sketch, click to start it, and I have to go back to the original starting point. Click on exit, and now it's got a closed sketch, and you'll know that because it highlights it in a slightly different color. So I could then click on that and extrude. So if I orbit so I can see that arrow a little bit better and you start pulling it out, notice you can be very precise at how much you want to pull it out. So I could pull it out 25.75 millimeters if I wanted to, and then push enter. And then now I've got a three-dimensional shape. So that is called a polyline. In the next video I'll show you something called a spline. It's a little bit less precise, but you can do a lot more interesting things with it.